A couple things I want to talk about when it comes to pitching deals. Number one, it comes back to the buyers you're speaking with, because so many people make the mistake of calling up a random buyer who said, hey, I'm looking to buy some strip centers, and then you pitch them some random strip center and you just keep getting told that this isn't what I'm looking for. The big things here is like verifying your buyers. Your VIP list, my VIP list, I have like, if someone sends me a, like just recently we were sent a 50,000+ square foot warehouse, northern New Jersey, 40-foot ceilings, call it about $200 a square foot. I have specific people where that meets their exact criteria, where they're not going to say this doesn't fit for me. The only thing they're going to tell me is what? What are they going to tell me possibly? The only one thing they can say. Price, exactly, right? So price does not work. Great. I can work with price. I'm okay with price. I never feel like price is the objection though. Objections is where this isn't in the right location. This doesn't work for me because it has no loading docks. It's like, it's a weird shape. It's a weird location. It's a weird setup, the whole nine. All right. It's like it's multi-story. I'm talking industrial for a second, right? That is more like I can't overcome those objections sometimes because I can't change it. It's getting so freaking clear with a buyer of what their criteria is, so that when you have a deal, like this 20-unit multifamily deal you have in Florida, right? It's calling up people where you're like, I have such a clear idea where they go, hey, I'm looking for 10 to 50 units in XYZ area of Florida. Here you go. Here's 10 to 50 units in this area of Florida, a good unit mix. It doesn't need major CapEx. Garden style. That's what you want to bring them. You don't want to call somebody up who says, hey, look, I'm looking for multifamily properties in Florida, and you don't ask the further questions. And what you didn't find out was that they're only looking for 5 or 10 units, and they will only buy in the Jacksonville area. And then you send them something 480 miles south. A lot of people make the mistake of not getting clear enough information from their buyers. Now, listen, I want to be clear. When you're pitching these deals, there's nothing fancy about it. There's no secret sauce to pitching a deal. You call up a guy, go, hey, John, it's Henry. We spoke a few weeks ago about your thoughts of buying a multifamily in and around the Fort Lauderdale area. Just wanted to let you know I came across a deal, 20 units. Do you have 2 minutes to review the deal with me?
Got it.
And the reason why I say that is because I want to make sure I'm not catching him in a place where he can't hear me. In a place like where he's driving, he's in a meeting, he's doing this, whatever. Because what's going to happen is he's going to go, yeah, just send me the deal, and then he's never going to review it. So I go, do you have 2 minutes to review a deal with me? Yes, great. Are you in front of a computer? Can you look up something? Can you look up the property address with me right now? No, I can't. Great. When will you be in front of a computer? Right? And I confirm that they're going to be in front of a computer and they have the time to talk about the deal with me. Okay? That's the only two big things. I wanted them to be able to look at it in front of them with me in real time. Because what happens is that if I call them up and they go, hey, John, it's Henry. We spoke a few weeks ago. You said you're looking to buy multifamily properties in and around the Fort Lauderdale area. I have a 20-unit property I wanted to bring to your attention, completely off market. Do you have 2 minutes? And he goes, yeah, I have 2 minutes. Great. Are you in front of a computer? No, I'm just in my car. I'm driving, but I'm I have your full attention. What I'd like to do is review the deal with you in depth when you have time in front of a computer. I think this deal makes a lot of sense. You can get it at a decent cap rate day one. Rents are going up before the end, right after the end of the year, January 1st, all the rents are going up. I think this is something to really spend some time on together. When are you going to be in front of a computer?
And we're only setting, if they won't agree to this consultation, they're not a buyer. We don't want to follow.
Well, give me pushback. Well, like, look, I just don't have to, when they say I don't have time is what you're saying?
Sure. I don't have time or just send me an OM, send me an email.
Okay, listen, what I'm going to do here is this. I don't mind sending you an email with some information. No problem at all. But I'm just letting you know the email has rent roll or I'm just trying to remember what we have on this deal. The deal I'm going to send you only has a gross income number. We did not get a rent roll yet. I asked for a P&L. I asked for a rent roll. We don't have it yet. It's only going to have, X amount of units, the gross rents, ballpark estimate on expenses based on what he's verbally told me, and the address. Is that enough information for you?
Got it.
I just want to be clear, because what's going to happen is I don't want to send you an email and you go, well, I need a rent roll. I'm like, I've already asked for it. I'm working on it, and I just don't want to send you something that makes me look stupid.
Yeah.
This is off market. No one else has seen this deal. You're the first person to see this deal, which is why I need you to give me, can you tell me when you have 2 minutes to sit in front of your computer and review the deal with me? Right. You want to create urgency.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that over time, you're going to end up building relationships with a number of buyers, right? These buyers, I create a VIP list where I've got a couple dozen guys on this VIP list now, okay? Where I know, like I had mentioned, if I have X type of property, I'm bringing it to this guy or these two people, these 3 or 4 people, right? These are my first people to go to because I know they close. I know they got the money. There's no BS. It's not their first rodeo. I don't need to worry about any of the nonsense. They're going to make sure I get paid, right? Like, they're not trying to mess me around. They're not going to go around me. It's going to take some time to build that list. I want to be very clear. Like, you're not just, you're not going to just cold call somebody one time. Like, when I'm cold calling and I randomly flip a script from a seller to a buyer and I go, actually, I have a property right around the corner. Let's say I'm calling the Fort Lauderdale area. I call up somebody and they say they don't want to sell their 40 unit deal. And I'm just like, listen, I completely respect that. However, I'm just curious. It seems like you have a number of multifamilies in the area. Would you be totally against buying another property in town? And he goes, no, actually, I'm always open. Okay, well, listen, funny enough, literally 15 minutes ago, I came across a 20 unit deal in your area. Very interesting situation. Seller wants to sell, needs to sell, would like to sell. This is an interesting opportunity. Do you have, do you have like 5 or 10 minutes so we can review it together right now? Are you in front of a computer? And I can start rolling through it, right? Like, because when I see somebody owns a 40 unit deal and it's a larger deal, I can see on Reonomy he owns 2 or 3 other properties. Like, this guy's not a schmuck. So I'm not like, this isn't like, it's not like the mom and pop that has a 20 unit deal, 20 unit deal, and you're trying to sell them a 60 unit. I'm not going to do that because you can see proof of concept. The best way to tell what the biggest predictor of the future is the past.
And then with this gentleman that we're actively working on this deal, where I have a rent roll that I've written, or he's verbally given us everything. We have no anything from this guy, but it's month to month, and he's been willing to counter, and that's really about it. That's the only thing he's given us. I'm not a schmuck for bringing that deal to
this guy needs another offer, right? Like, look, again, these are the types of people where you will have to follow up with them and get rent rolls. You have to get P&Ls. You have to get certain information. If this guy wants to close a deal, he's going to provide it to you. And it's like, you can tell him, like, listen, a rent roll is tenant address, so 1A, right? 2A, 3A, whatever, right? The address, the name of the tenant, John Smith, and what their rent is.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want to know, right? And then if they're on an annual lease, when it started, when it ends, and a security deposit check or not, right? So I need to see a rent roll, and then we for a multifamily, you don't need to see leases, but when you see a rent roll, and we need to see some type of P&L. What do you pay in expenses? That's all I want to know, and to some fairly accurate number, not some just wishy-washy BS. When you're pitching deals, it's not fancy. It's just down and dirty details. Give them the information, and always make sure you're pitching the deal at a higher number than what you know he'll take, especially if you don't have it locked. So if a seller's willing to take 3.2, pitch at 3.4 or 3.3. I'm not saying be greedy and try to go for $4 million. It's stupid. No one's ever going to take it. But if I know a deal, if I know a deal makes a ton of sense at $4 million, like, let's just say the cap rate at $4 million was still an 8% cap rate, and we knew that he would take 3.2, which is a 10 cap, I'll pitch it at 4. That's fine.
Okay, and then on the sell side, when I encountered the storage facility owner with $200 million in storage facilities across the Southeast, and he has the Cushman broker that's managing, actively his sales side advisory portfolio. I mean, is that something that you handle? Is that something that we should be looking to pursue? I feel, I've always been sell side advisory my entire career, even in multifamily sales.
Yeah, same here. So I'd say it to you like this. I want to be very clear with you. There's just some times where I'll give it a shot to 2 or 3 people. And then if those 2 or 3 VIPs of mine who I know can close on something like this, that I'm easily connected with, like, this is probably the buyer. If they don't want it, I'm calling it. Okay. Especially because, like, it already is too complex in the sense where they already have a broker. Like, they have very well good connection. They've already, they're probably going to list it for sale. They have an exclusive with this broker already. Number one, I'm already splitting a fee. I also have to deal with this guy's nonsense of trying to, egotistically, shove his way around the room. You know what I mean? Which I don't need to deal with. And this guy probably wants top dollar and then some for his property. With this self-storage deal, I'll say it to you like this. I am good. I'm well connected with people from Prime. Okay, Prime self-storage. Prime, I can send them this opportunity, see if they're open to possibly taking a gander at it, right? But then again, the problem is, it's like, okay, even if, let's just say we could do the whole portfolio, Prime says, let's go. What am I going to make? A half a point, a quarter of a point, then split it 4 ways because I got to sell it, and I got to split it with a Prime broker, the listing broker, then you and I.
It's not our customer.
Most of the time, the answer's no. I'm not ever saying look, to me, it's like a free at bat. That's what I look at these huge deals as. It's a free at bat. If I can take it home, it's a free at bat, right? Like, it doesn't count towards anything. It's like, a lot of these people think that this is like game-changing career moment. Here's the thing. Game-changing career moments is when you're first in line to that guy and he needs to sell. And he doesn't have some dumbass broker working on it already that he's already signed with, that we need to get in the way. I don't care if he's the best broker in the entire world. There's a lot of amazing brokers out there. It complicates it when you're dealing with multiple brokers.
Yeah, and my question is more general about like this concept of like hey, call this guy. He's the guy who handles my sell side advisory. Like, do we want to be that guy, or is that not our customer? Do we want to be representing these guys as sell side advisory and leasing agents?
Of course.
We do want to be that guy. Okay.
I am not a hell no. I will do it when the time is appropriate. That is not my first step, right? Like, that's not what I'm leading with. If that's what they're looking for and that solves their challenge, their problem, then of course I can go with that.
Sure. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
There's exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions. It's not finite.
Yeah, I got a quick question. So when people are hitting us with this whole, oh yeah, send me an email. I want to see an email with something in it. That's really just because we're not getting in there. We're not, it's just basically a, hey, I'm not interested, right?
Not necessarily.
And then follow up to that is, what are you sending them over?
Okay, so let's talk about this in a broad scope first. You're making your prospecting calls to sellers. And you say, would you be totally against selling your property? I'm open. Make me an offer, blah, blah, blah. And like you start going into it, you start asking more questions. They go, listen, send me an email. We'll have another conversation. I'm busy. Sometimes it's a blow off, right? Sometimes they want to just prove your legitimacy. Imagine you are somebody who owns a couple $1 million worth of real estate. You've owned a couple $1 million worth of real estate for a long time. Money's good, right? Like you're in a good place. You're not in any type of stressful situation where you need to sell anything. And you get 20 phone calls a year or even maybe 10 a month or more. Okay, about selling your property. And every single time, it's the same spiel. Would you be open to selling your property? Yeah, make me an offer. Oh, well, I need to know more information. All right, I'll give you a little bit of information. Okay, what do you want? I don't know what I want because I don't need to sell it, right? Or they just have, they're like, or I want $5 million for it. And then you're like, okay, well, if I can get you $5 million so you consider selling, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, well, listen, before we go any further, just send me an email. And you know why they do that? Because of two things. Most people who call and prospect, like as, quote unquote, a buyer or even a buyer's agent, right? Or someone who's representing somebody, right? Number one, they don't make offers. So they do all this fucking talking over the phone, right? They do all this talk and they never get any offers, which is incredibly annoying. Like I just had this guy, this is the third time this guy's brought a buyer to me. And every single time this guy's brought a buyer to one of my properties, the guy comes back at like 60 or 70% of what my asking is. I'm like, stop wasting my freaking time. These guys called me back, a couple months later, and they say, oh, I have a new buyer, and then I have a new buyer, and I'm like, tell them my price, and it does not change. And I'm like, if he's not going to be anywhere near that, I don't need to make myself busy and try to show you the property and schedule tours and all this kind of BS because you're not hearing me. It's annoying. So when you're saying like, hey, send me an email, you're doing it because you want to prove legitimacy because most people don't submit an offer. And the second factor is when you send me an email, I also that's step 0.000001 of the entirety of the follow-up process, right? Don't think about it as a huge obstacle. You can send this guy a 3-sentence email. Hey, my name is Steve with XYZ Brokerage. Okay, I'm a local broker in the area. Been a part of a couple dozen transactions in the market throughout my career. We specialize in investment sales, just like your property here, and I'm looking to try to support you in getting the best price I can. That's it. You don't have to. What do you think you're going to say? You don't have to say anything. Like there's no magic sauce of what to say in that email. And I feel like so many people get caught up in like the email has to be perfect. There's nothing other than just being honest, in that email that you need to say.
Yeah, I think I was just overthinking it a little bit.
You can go to ChatGPT, man. I'm not even kidding you. Go to ChatGPT, or write out something and send it to ChatGPT. It'll edit it a little bit and send it over. Call it a day.
And one last thing, as it pertains to the pitch, man, when we're writing loosey-goosey with no contract, no paperwork, how do we keep our deal from becoming like the neighborhood bicycle? I don't want people to catch wind of this. Stakes are high, obviously, right?
Yeah. I say this to everyone. I've said it 1,000 times on YouTube. I've said it 1,000 times in the coaching community. Like, if someone's going to screw you, whether you have docs signed or not, they're going to screw you. Okay?
Just deal with it.
You cannot send a deal without sending an address. There's just so much trust in this industry. There's so much trust. If someone's going to screw you, they're going to screw you whether you sign documents or not, and then your brokerage would have to go through nonsense lawsuits of trying to sue this guy for a commission check, right?
You're not getting paid. You're not getting paid anyway. It doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just that should be the least of your worries.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? I'm like, get it to contract, then get people to sign shit. Or at least, get to the point where they're agreeing on price, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying get it into contract with attorneys and everything before you sign anything. Get them to agree on numbers and everything, and then as they're signing letters of intent, you can also sign a commission agreement. Okay. But commission agreement isn't one. That's like, because the problem is that a lot of people are just like, I don't want to pay anything. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Like, then let's bypass that, and we'll handle this when I get you a contract that you'll agree to. And then as soon as the LOI makes sense, and they're like, all right, yeah, I'll sign this. Great. I send it with a commission agreement, and then you're good. And then you send that to the attorneys and call it a day.
Excellent.